Good morning, 8Cs, receiving school students and teachers.
Good morning, Miss Yuma.
You may take your seats. Thank you. All right, this is just a reminder to the receiving teachers. I gave an assignment to the model students. All right, they were supposed to, or they were to construct a climograph for Port Moresby, right? So I told them to look into page, I'm not too sure, but the grade 7's textbook, PNG, right? People and its places. Okay, grade 7 textbook, and to copy down the climate figures for Port Moresby. So they're going to come up with a climograph or climate graph for Port Moresby. So that's just a reminder to the the receiving teachers. So if you would also like to give them an assignment, you can also do that. Right, the climate figures are in the grade 7 textbook, climate figures for Port Moresby. And so you have your due date, all right, model students. Receiving teachers, you can also set the time for them to hand in their assignments. All right, we'll move on to our topic for today's lesson. In our previous lesson, what did we look at, class? What did we look at? Weather, all right? We looked at weather, good. We looked at weather, we looked at the difference between weather and climate. All right, weather and climate. Weather is the day-to-day, all right, amount of rainfall, wind, temperature, all right, of a place, okay, or in a day. Climate is a pattern of weather, overall pattern of weather for over a period of time, all right? So that's the difference between climate and weather. So today, let's say if it's a sunny day, we are talking about the weather, right? We're describing the weather. If it's a rainy day today, we're describing the weather today. Climate in the highlands, it is cold, all right? All the year, all right? All throughout the year, it is cool up in the highlands. So that's how we describe weather and climate. Also, Papua New Guinea has a tropical climate, wet and dry, all right? All right, I reminded you that today's topic, we're going to look at earthquakes. All right, earthquakes. Now I've decided that we divide these lessons into two, all right? Two lessons, so earthquakes 1, and in our next lesson, we look at earthquakes 2, right? In our next lesson, we are going to look at how earthquakes are caused, right? How are earthquakes caused? What causes earthquakes? Right. Okay, let's just have a look. Once you've copied down that topic, class, all right, I'm sure you've copied that one down. All right, class, read, receiving students. Crust. Right, an earthquake is a violent shaking, right? Violent shaking of the Earth's crust. Now I'm sure some of you have experienced earthquakes. Yes. Some of you have seen in documentaries, right, showing earthquakes, or in movies, all right, showing earthquakes, what it's like, or how an earthquake looks like. Or what it looks like. Okay, what happens when there's an earthquake? Anyone? Can someone tell us? What happens when there's an earthquake, when there's a violent shaking of the Earth's crust? Receiving students? Come on, can you just tell me what happens? Right? If you've experienced or you've seen documentaries or movies of earthquakes, what happens? Come on. All right, Paulus.
The ground cracks open.
All right, the earth or the ground is split, all right, or is cracked open. Yes. Any other things that happens during an earthquake? Oh, does the ground open? That's it. What else? All right, Daphne.
Landslides.
Landslides, yes. All right, good. Landslides. The earth opens. Right, let's have Ismail first.
Tsunami.
Tsunami. All right, a tsunami occurs. All right, anything else? Yes? Michael?
Buildings collapse.
Buildings, all right, buildings collapse. Building collapses, yes. If there's an earthquake underneath the ocean, all right, then tsunami will likely to occur. Any other things? Hane? Thank you.
Most likely after an earthquake, volcanoes erupt.
Volcanoes erupt. All right, good. Right. Right, that's a sign or warning that a volcano is likely to erupt after there's an earthquake. Good. All right, so, okay, let's have, those are some of the things that happens during an earthquake, right? Okay, let's just have a look at some pictures, all right? What actually happens? Yes, okay, you can see buildings collapsing, all right? When there's an earthquake, all right, cities damaged or destroyed, all right? Properties damaged, houses. Okay, let's have a look. Next one. What do you think this is? All right, a railway. Okay, railway. All right. Another picture here. You can see cars on top of each other, buildings damaged, all right, and a split, all right, or a crack in the earth, all right, an opening of the earth's crust. Okay, all right. Now we're going to look at two eyewitness accounts, all right. These two people, all right, they experienced an earthquake, and these are just their short accounts or stories of what they experienced during the earthquake. All right, so receiving students, if you have a look. Okay, class, can we all read, please?
We saw the earth all around living in a most frightful manner. The earth resembled waves coming from opposite directions and meeting in a very deep and
Falling back. All right. Okay. Heaving, meaning lift or thrown with great effort. All right. We saw the earth all around heaving in a most frightful manner. Move on. Each time
the waves seemed to go back,
the ground opened slightly,
and each time they met,
water and sand were thrown up to a height of 18 inches or so. All right, so that's one account, one story of one eyewitness. Okay, next account. As I moved, can we have someone to read, please? Let's have a volunteer quickly. All right, Raymond, could you read, please, as I move?
As I moved, I saw cracks appear in the earth. Pieces of the ground in jigsaw puzzle shapes moved up and down, tilted at all angles. I tried to move away, but more appeared in every direction.
All right, good. Naomi, please.
I noticed that my house was moving away from me fast. As I started to climb the fence to my neighbor's yard, the fence disappeared.
All right. As I started to climb the fence to my neighbor's yard, the fence disappeared. Bobby, read, please.
Trees were falling in crazy patterns, deep chunks opened up. Tabletop pieces of earth moved upward, standing like toadstools with great overturned ends. Some would turn at crazy angles.
Angles, okay, good. Deep chasms opening in the earth's crust, okay? Or a gap, that's what it means, chasms. chasms, okay? A chasm, all right, I'll read. A chasm opened beneath me. I tumbled down. I was quickly on the verge of being buried. I dug pieces of trees, fence, posts, mailboxes, and other odds and ends. Then my neighbor's house collapsed and slid into the chasm, the opening. When the earth movement stopped, I climbed the top of the chasm. I found regular landscape in every direction. Okay, so that's those are two stories of two accounts of two eyewitnesses. Okay, class, your activity, right, for today's lesson. All right, read, please.
Write a story imagining that you are caught in an earthquake. Or if you have really experienced an earthquake, write a story of that experience.
Okay, all right, receiving students, that's what you're going to do now. All right, in your exercise books class. All right, again I'll explain, okay, like what the accounts, all right, the two accounts. Okay, you're going to write a story, okay, imagining that you are caught in an earthquake. So it's sort of like maybe a descriptive, you describe, okay, that story of how you were, okay, caught in that earthquake. Or if you really have experienced an earthquake, then you write about that experience. So language comes in, English, all right, not only social science here. So what we'll do now is quickly into your exercise books, all right? We'll have you to write that, okay? All right, 8Cs, you understand what you're going to do for today's lesson, this activity? Okay, can you start now, please? All right, receiving students, can you also do that? Okay, your imaginative stories. Imagine what it would be like, okay, if you were caught in an earthquake. Okay. You are grade 8s now, so you don't start off with once upon a time there lived. I'm sure your English teacher, all right, they've already taught you how to write stories, okay? Especially at this stage, at this level, all right? So here you are imagining, okay? Those of you who haven't experienced an earthquake, you imagine. Just write the story. you're not sure, please put your hands up if you need anything. I'm sure some of you will come up with very good stories, very interesting stories. What's wrong? Your tummy aching. You want to go outside? Is your tummy aching? Why? You'll stay here or you want to go outside? Okay. Thomas. There's a seat over there. Wait. You can't drive. Oh. Is there a chair there? Okay, wait, come. I'll bring you. Okay, I need this chair and the table first. This boy will sit down there. Yeah, you get this one so you'll write properly. Now you can write properly. It's okay, yeah. It's a true story. 2000. Okay, wait. That bastards. Fell down to the floor. So it fell down to the floor and after a few minutes it stopped. Okay, good. 20 seconds. Anyone finished? Sunday afternoon and I went very unsafe and I went to visit my grandmother's home. Yeah, read it first. Finish it. Oh. We heard people screaming and shouting. Uncle went into the bush where the people were screaming and shouting. Okay, full stop. And then he saw that they were running towards him. They went past him. P-double-S-E-D. And when he looked ahead, he saw the ground breaking. Okay. So he started to run back to his when he reached us. Or you can say, friends. No, I was asking you, can you see? Is it okay? 4 o'clock and the sun started to set. I suddenly felt that one shade. It was an earthquake. I do everything. I was holding everything. When I looked, people were running everywhere. Everyone were running everywhere for their lives, including me. I was trying to run to the next street. To my surprise, the building collapsed in front of me. Sounds like to the nearest point of the ground, yes. Cracked here, cracked open. Yeah. Cracked open in the station. Also collapsed. Goodness gracious. Okay. I can. Yeah, that's okay. If I finish and if I want to read it, I can read it. But now time is running out, so it's okay. You just later collect your exercise books. Okay. It's my what on? Okay. 8Cs. Looks like we'll stop here. Thank you. Your stories. Please make sure you write them neatly so maybe tomorrow I can collect your exercise books to go through your stories. All right? Those of you so if you haven't finished, please can you complete it for homework? All right, I'll have maybe one volunteer to come and read her story. All right? All right, can we have Caroline, please? We're running out of time, so we'll just have Caroline. Thank you. All right, you others, could you listen? Listen very carefully. So receiving students, you can also read your stories out to your class. Okay, everyone listen.
It was a Sunday evening. We all gathered around the dinner table to help ourselves with the dinner that was prepared. As usual, we said our prayer and started serving our food when we realized that the household things were shaking, including the dinner. We all stopped suddenly, but the shaking too stopped. So we carried on with our dinner, assuming that everything was all right, not knowing a natural hazard was about to occur. We finished our dinner and sat around doing our normal routine for a Sunday evening, when suddenly the ground shook and everything in the house shook violently. Even we in the house lost our balance. Every single household stuff fell out from shelves, cupboards, and tables. We had cries of terror and fright. Screaming was going on wildly everywhere as people started running in all directions, not knowing where to go or what to do. Our homes, schools, and buildings collapsed and were scattered everywhere. Half an hour later, the terrible shaking came to a halt, but everything were destroyed. Citizens stood and stared blankly with helpless thoughts. When people calmed down, the survivors searched for their missing relatives. The fortunate ones reunited with their missing loved ones, while the others had to bear the heartache knowing that they lost them forever.
Okay, thank you, Caroline. All right, so your stories, please, later you make sure you write them neatly. All right, go through your stories. And I'll collect your exercise books later. All right, 8Cs and receiving students, in our next lesson, we're going to look at earthquakes part 2, all right? This is just part 1. Part 2, we look at how earthquakes are caused and so on. All right, that brings us to the end of our lesson. Okay, yes, receiving teachers here. Your resources. Pictures of earthquakes, if you have any pictures. And our keyword, earthquakes. Thank you, 8Cs, receiving school students and teachers, and you have a nice day today.